you're looking at the number of positive COVID cases of returning overseas Filipinos. So all international arrivals, this is all the accumulated COVID cases of OFWs, non-OFWs, balikbayans, and even foreigners arriving in the Philippines, international arrivals. Ever since this pandemic has started, 22,947 Filipinos abroad ay COVID positive. Compared to the total number of COVID cases in the Philippines as of June 9, 1,286,217. So it means po, 1.78% of all COVID cases in the Philippines are from Filipinos abroad, international arrivals. 1.78%. Is that a huge number? Is that the cause of the surge? Yan ba yung dahilan? Bakit maraming cases sa Pinas? Ask yourself, Iatf, because the way you're treating Filipinos abroad, it's like they are COVID carriers. It's like they are the cause of all surges in the Philippines. It's like they are the cause na nasa ganyang sitwasyon kayo na palaging lockdown. Because if we base it on this data, the number is very, very low. Filipinos abroad, we've had enough. We've had enough. You need to stop. You need to change. Because we, the Filipinos abroad, are bearing the cost of your negligence and carelessness. You are not listening to us. You only see us as COVID carriers. I'm speaking to the IATF. Stop. Do something about the travel capacity. More than anything, itong mga flight cancellations, flight reschedule, rerouting, at kahit ano-ano pa, it's a #1 cause of stress of Filipinos abroad. And majority of them left the country to work abroad. They are heroes, OFWs, and yet they are suffering because of your travel capacity. In Manila, 2,000. In Cebu, 300. In Clark, 1,500. Approximately, there are 10 million Filipinos abroad. We are sick of this schedule, cancel flight. Tickets are already so expensive, times 2, times 3 than the normal price because of your travel capacity. Because you don't have enough rooms, not enough quarantine facilities. Do you ever think of our Filipinos whose contract abroad has finished, visa tapos na? And some of them, especially our Filipinos in UAEs, have to switch from residence visa na expired na to tourist visa just so they don't overstay. And they have to live on their savings to support themselves. That money that should have been spent to their families, they saved that money for their families sa Pinas. And yet, they are now spending that to survive. They could have been home. But it's you don't think about them. One of our kababayan said, "Kawawa naman kami mga Pinoy dito sa ibang bansa. Paso na visa namin. Ang mahal-mahal pa ng extension visa. Maaawa naman kayo sa amin, wala na kaming pera. Kung maka-cancel kayo ay ganun-ganun na lang, hindi nyo iniisip kung okay ba kami dito." A simple display of your selfishness is your diversion of flights bound to Cebu to Naiya. You are selfish, IATF. Duque, you are selfish. You've been told to resign so many times and yet you're still there. No decency. Why don't you listen to hear some of our kababayans' plea? I feel so sorry for our OFW, especially sa Middle East, whose flight pa have to be bought by their employers. Alam mo ba yung employers nila ang mismo sinasabing, huwag ka munang umuwi. Or, it's too expensive yung ticket, mag-extend ka lang. Sometimes, sinasabihin sila na lang bumili ng kanilang ticket. Hear this. "Sir, ako po tapos na contract ko March 4. Gusto ni amo kung may pera daw asawa ko, bili siya ticket. Kung wala, hintay daw ako ng August. Nag-aalala ako baka pagdating ng August, wala na namang ticket." Another person, "Ako po, finish contract, sabi ni amo mahal ticket. Pag bumaba na daw ticket, saka na ako pauwiin. Kailan pa kaya gusto ko na din mag-exit?" Another Filipino said, "My employer, di nila kaya ang mahal ng ticket. 11,000 reals daw. Hanggang 2,000 reals lang daw kaya nila." And even government agencies are telling our very own Filipino, wag muna kayong umuwi. Kung bakasyon lang, dyan muna kayo. Well, that's easy for you to say because you are not in their situation. You are not in people's shoes. Do you think they are going home just for vacation? Seriously. They're going home for a reason that you do not know because you don't care. And you don't consider this when you make your decisions. Increase the travel cap. Fix it. You're sleeping on this problem. It has been months and months. What we thought was temporary, 3 months, 4 months na. In order to increase the travel cap, please consider changing the protocol. Consider negative test result before travel, shorter quarantine period, means we can have more available rooms. Maybe we can increase the travel capacity. Acknowledge fully vaccinated abroad. There are countries with verification system where a lot of our kababayans are from, concentrated, especially Middle East. Most of them are already vaccinated. At least prioritize them because there is a high concentration of Filipinos there. And if we can at least start with them, it will make a difference for all of us. And if you choose to stick with your protocol, please, once the negative result is out, let them go. Let them go to their final destination. 7th-day testing. On that same day or that 8th day, the result could be ready. Let them go. Why wait for another 2 days or 3 days? What is the point? You're not monitoring them anyway. Let them be. Let the local government unit do their job of monitoring. That 2 or 3 days saved will make a lot of difference for the OWAS budget for non-OFWs. It will go a long way. And that time will also be appreciated by our Filipinos who have limited time to go home and be with their families. And if you really care, be responsible when you're making these decisions and changes. We've seen it so many times. You impose and extend bans, restrictions, change protocols up to the very last minute, sometimes less than 30 minutes. Be responsible in your announcements. Announce at least 3 to 5 days before implementation or extension. Look what happened to our kababayans from UAE who were stranded in Singapore airport. Why? Because you announced 11:30 of May 31. Very irresponsible. Very irresponsible. You should have announced it days before. You wasted their time, their money. Why are you banning your own people? And you're banning the wrong country. Let's go back to March 2020 when you said you cannot ban China because of relations. And now you're banning your own people. How dare you? Let them go home. They are Filipinos. They will comply with our protocols. They were quarantined for 14 days. They have negative COVID result. They are fully vaccinated. What else can they do? You need to stop and let them go home. Next thing, before you make decisions, before you make announcement, coordination. These national governments, local government units, different agencies, many times no coordination. For example, you put us in the hotel quarantine, get tested on the 7th day, and many LGUs require 72 hours negative COVID result. If we're to follow your 7th day, by the 10th day, expired na yung negative result. Negative result na naman? Nagaling na nga ng quarantine? At saka yung dobleng quarantine. 10 days sa hotel, and some LGUs still require 14 days na naman. So what, 24 days quarantine? Oh my God, the only country in the world, you're treating them more than like a COVID-infected person. A COVID-infected person normally quarantines for 14 days. But for some of our Filipinos abroad, they have to quarantine for 24 days. That's crazy. And a mountain of requirements in LGUs. My Trace app, my SafePH app, my SPAS, my LGU acceptance letter, my medical certificate. Oh my gosh, it's a never-ending requirements. Please have some unified requirements. You released that Iatf Resolution 101, but that was useless. Hindi pa din unified yung requirements. Before you make announcement, coordinate with the local government units. At the end of the day, they are on the ground. They know what's going on. They are the ones who are in the situation, not you. You only see the whole Philippines. And speaking of LGUs, let's see Booby. Leave them. Let them be. Have you studied their protocol? No, you haven't. Don't you see that their protocol is actually more stringent and safer than your protocol? They do swabbing twice. When this Cebu resident has a negative result, they leave their hotel and continue their quarantine at home, and they get tested again on the 7th day. There is a rules for home quarantine. Let LGUs do their job. Stop controlling everyone. It can't just be about you, Iatf. Listen to the people. Remember, they are the ones paying your salaries. These Filipinos abroad comprise 10% of our GDP. Don't treat them like they are COVID. Treat them like humans. I am speaking in behalf of all my Filipinos and they can agree on what I am saying. You need to stop and get your shit together.